When we learn another language, people tend to think that we're not good enough because we always want that perfection. But we're so, demanding when we're learning a language. We always want perfection, no accent, perfect vocabulary range. You must know everything, and it's a lie. It's a lie.
Hi everyone, welcome to Live Your Language, tips and inspiration for your bilingual life. I'm Stephanie, a PhD student of second language acquisition and a mother to two children that I'm raising bilingually in my non-native language of French. This is part 2 of a very special episode. I interviewed Amy of the Our Minority Language Home blog, who is raising her children to be trilingual in Spanish, French, and English, with English and Spanish being the minority languages. She is based in France. So if you haven't already seen part 1, I definitely encourage you to check it out. It's right up here, and in that you'll get a lot of background information for Amy and her family. The reason I was really interested in interviewing Amy and speaking with her about her bilingual parenting journey so far is because she's actually raising her children as a non-native speaker. And this is really something that I'm interested in, and I know that a lot of you are interested in, because there's so many resources out there that really talk about bilingual parenting, but not very many that talk about doing it from a non-native speaker standpoint. That's why I knew that I had to speak with her and hear everything I could about her journey. So without any further ado, here is part 2 of my interview with Amy, where she shares with us some really great tips and wisdom from her bilingual parenting journey so far. Amy told me the story of why she decided to switch from OPAL, which is a very popular method for those of us starting out, to the minority language at home method when her oldest child started school in France. Her child had effectively become a passive trilingual, and she knew that the stakes were high and she had to do something different if her youngest child as well was going to be a productive speaker of those 3 languages.
I raised my girls in English and my husband in Spanish. And we thought we'd continue speaking French, the 3 of us at the time, together. By the age of 4, my eldest had started French school, and she just started speaking less and less of English and Spanish. English, she didn't speak very much, and Spanish, she made more efforts, but it just went, it was dreadful as she started losing it. And her sister was a newborn, and I thought, this is not going to work out. This is not going to work out. The little one is going to copy the big one, and the adventure will be out of the window. So I started reading up on it. And I came across the Bilingual Zoo, which is Adam Beck's forum. And I discovered his blog, his forum. I bought his book, which is my Bible of Bilingual Education, which is maximize your child's bilingual ability. And that's how I realized, no, what are we doing? Why do we speak the majority language, as a family language at home? And so I did a test one day. I didn't say anything to my husband, nothing to my daughter, not to my eldest. And I started speaking English from dawn to dusk. And at the end of the day, my eldest started stringing a sentence in English. And my husband and I looked at each other, and there was an eye contact, and that's it. And when she went to bed, I said to my husband, we've got to get French out of here. And he was like, yeah, French is out. And so I printed little flags of our languages, and I put them, I followed one of Adam Beck's advice. I put the flags in a golden envelope to make it very appealing. I gave it to my daughter, and I said, you've got a mission. You have to stick the little flags on the door, and and put the flags of the languages we can speak at home on the outside. That means as you walk in, you can speak English, Spanish, and the French flag on the way out, on the inside of the door, so that you see it as on the way out. We explained to her that's a rule. At home, we speak English and Spanish, and French we keep it for outside. That's why I say at the time we were an OPAL family, and now I say we're a minority language at home family, even though we each have our own language. It's because we've excluded the majority language. When we changed to minority languages at home, I thought, we'll stick with that, I thought it would never change. And then I realized now as my eldest grows and her needs are different. And I think, well, I have to be more flexible. So now when we do the homework, it's unavoidable. I could speak in English, but I find that very uncomfortable to speak about the homework just in English. So sometimes we do use French for the homework, but just for the homework. For the reading, the teacher said she needs to read more in French. Just the reading at one point was not up to speed. So we've had to allow more French books into our home at some point. So we have to adapt.
That flexibility extends to everyday contexts, like when her child had difficulty remembering the Spanish and English equivalents to vocabulary that she only encountered in the majority language contexts.
I also have, to appreciate the difficulty she's in. So if it's a simple word we use at home, there's no excuse. I will not take television in French when she, television is at home and she knows how to say it in Spanish. But obviously folder might be another thing.
The fourth piece of advice that Amy gives us is to beware of the naysayers. Amy tells about how she encountered a lot of skeptical people along the way, from acquaintances to coworkers, people she passed on the street, even her own doctor. Had she not seen a specialist, her kids might not be trilingual today.
You know your child. Nobody knows better than you. I've had a doctor telling me to stop speaking English to my daughter. The classical case of a doctor telling you that it's not good. So my husband, it was okay. Being a native was fine. But English, me not being native, 3 languages is too much, really. That's why daughter doesn't pronounce so well. And, I knew my child at the end of the day. And I can't say I was very confident, but in the end, I thought, no, I'm going to stick to English. And eventually I took her to a speech therapist, and the speech therapist said, that's a whole lot of rubbish. It's fine. Just give the child time. She'll be okay. Let's do a bit, a few sessions and she'll be fine. And absolutely, she's absolutely fine, and she speaks 3 languages now. So, you've got really to, trust your parental instinct.
She talks a little bit about the never-ending quest for perfection. Can't we all relate to this, especially as non-native speakers? If you listen to Amy speak, you hear that she has a really, really high level of English proficiency. In fact, when I was speaking with her, I could hardly tell that she wasn't a native English speaker. But even she has her own insecurities about if she's using the right words and conjugating things correctly. So just keep this in mind and do your best as you go on.
When we learn another language, people tend to think that we're not good enough because we always want that perfection. But if you look at the range of vocabulary of language skills that one monolingual, that monolingual people can have, it can be very wide. Take a lecturer, a university lecturer, monolingual one, and you take, a less educated monolingual speaker, you'll have a serious gap in the range of vocabulary they have. And it's the same with us. But we're so, demanding when we're learning a language. We always want perfection. No accent, perfect vocabulary range. You must know everything. And it's a lie. It's a lie. In our own mother tongue, we don't necessarily have the vocabulary because we didn't have the opportunity to learn it, to use it beforehand, because we didn't work with children. We didn't have kids before. You just pick it up along the way. And it's the same being a foreigner at the end of the day.
The last takeaway I got of many, many, many takeaways from this conversation with Amy is to educate yourself. One of her biggest regrets is not reading up sooner about bilingual parenting styles and strategies. Like a lot of us, we thought it would be as simple as just speaking to our child in that language, but it's not.
My regret was that I didn't read up on it at the beginning. That I just thought, because I'm trilingual, it's going to be easy. We speak, and the child will speak. So that's my regret. Then, because I would have been a lot more careful about my strategy about it. I knew there were bilingual parents all over the place, but it felt very distant. But then a fellow blogger really recommended that I got on Instagram. She said there's really an amazing community. And it's true that there are a lot of parents out there. And it's really lovely to meet different, different families, different experiences. You can observe what they do, because they share. The advantage of Instagram is it shows pictures, so it's really visual what they actually do with their children, the kind of books they read, the kind of activities they'll do. And it's I think it's a really nice community, and I managed to, reach out to more people.
Thank you so much for listening to my summary of that interview with Amy of the Our Minority Language Home blog. Thank you, Amy, for being so gracious and accepting my request to interview you. I definitely encourage you again to check out her blog, which just has tons and tons and tons of detail about the things that she does to raise her kids bilingually. Also, check her out on Instagram, where she is very active. So thanks again, and I will see you in the next video.